All right, welcome back to KM6LYW Radio, show about amateur radio or ham radio, reimagining radio in the information age. Artificial intelligence and ham radio. A funny gimmick or a clever technology? Let's check it out this time on KM6LYW Radio. All right, welcome back. Yeah, and that one's probably a repeat, but I think I got it wrong the last time. Well, let's check it out. AI and ham radio. So, artificial intelligence means something different to everyone. There's a generative AI, there's chatbots out there, there's insights AI that helps examine information. And we're going to look at a couple of those as it relates to ham radio. One, we're going to play with some chatbots over ham radio, and two, we're going to look at some insights AI. Have AI listen to ham radio for us. Let's get the quiet part out of the way. You'll notice up here there are no wires between the DigiPi TNC and the Kinwood. We've got this working over Bluetooth. This technology didn't exist 35 minutes ago. So yeah, totally wireless. DigiPi connecting to a Bluetooth TNC. So look for this in the future in DigiPi. So just an update on DigiPi development. So we're going to use this to do some AX.25 networking, and we're going to connect to a bulletin board that has a chatbot, an AI chatbot, amongst other things. So right now it is a Digipeater, and we are going to do AX.25 node network. I'm going to turn that on, and DigiPi is going to go into node mode. And I'm going to also switch the frequency to over to VFO. So we are on 145050 here. This is a frequency we use in Northern California for a pretty big packet network. And there's a node there called Cool. It's actually up on the hill here. It's also running DigiPi. And I'm going to click AX call, and we're going to connect to it using LinPack. LinPack's kind of like our terminal emulator for AX.25. You can ignore this. It's just from the last session. So let's connect to Cool. And I'm going to say connect Cool, and we're going to see a connection here, and it says welcome new user, please use the info and question commands. So this is where we can have a chat room. We got an email interface. We can play Zork here. You guys old my age, you remember Zork. We can play Zork here if we want, but there's a new thing. I don't know if I'm going to add it to DigiPi permanently, so I'm just kind of kicking this around. This is ChatGPT, which is one of the more popular AI chatbots. So I can type AI chat, and we're going to talk to ChatGPT over this Kinwood radio. You can see it's transmitting and receiving. And we're talking to the Cool node. And it says, hello, I am ChatGPT Artificial Intelligence. Type your message and press enter to chat. And I'm going to say, hello. Ta-da. Hi there, how can I help you today? We're talking to AI over ham radio. Another first for ham radio. Let's see. Let's ask something that everyone probably wants to know. What is the average velocity of an unladen swallow? Any question mark? Let's see if we got an answer for this. Let's see. What do we got? This is ChatGPT through amateur radio, for those of you just tuning in. Of course, he asks, African or European? More seriously, the movie never gives a real number. Fans jokingly, European swallows' airspeed is around 10 to 11 meters per second, at about 24 miles per hour. But it's a Monty Python gag, not real ornithology. So that's ChatGPT. That's a pretty clever answer. Let's see if we can trick it up here. How long is a piece of rope? Good question. How long is a piece of rope? So let's see what ChatGPT says. So we're transmitting and receiving here on the Kinwood and DigiPi. It says twice the distance from its middle to either end. That is a really accurate answer. Another, it gave a different answer before. I don't know if I phrased it differently because it remembers context too. That's what's so neat about ChatGPT. One of the answers was it's about 3 inches shorter than you need it. That's always the length of a piece of rope. Too short when you really need it. Yeah, I actually captured that. That's pretty cool. So we can say, what is 2 plus 2, right? And it can do answer all kinds of questions. So this is pretty neat in that, this is like better than having Wikipedia if you want information. Let's say you're completely offline. This will give you concise answers to questions rather than trying to display websites. So I can do add to that. See the context here? And it says that makes 6, right? So it remembers your previous questions and put context to your current question. So that's it. We did chat GPT over ham radio. Another first for ham radio. Let's see, we can pull up the menu here and I can do a hang up. And we're disconnecting from the chatbot and we're back to DigiPi. The DigiPi node interface where we can do all kinds of fun stuff. So this is an AX.25 node. We can connect to other nodes. But I just thought it'd be cool to put an AI chat bot here on DigiPi. I'm trying to do a patron spotlight here when I can. And I'd like to highlight Josh, KK6SEN. This was all his idea. In fact, he created a local AI, a large language model that's local, that's not on the internet. So, in a disaster situation and the internet is gone, we still have an AI at Josh's node in Auburn, California, and we can actually connect to his. And this is his killer things. In fact, I'm going to say bye here first. We can disconnect from Cool. And I'm going to connect to Josh's node, connect obnod via Cool. So this station is KM6LYW. It's going to connect to obnode via Cool, which is on the hill, which is where we just were, and K-ban, which is a high level digi. So let's connect to obnod. This is Josh's DigiPi. He sent me an email, says, "Hey Craig, hold my beer. Check this out." And so he added a command to his DigiPi. Of course, he called it AI chat, and I completely stole that from his. So if we type AI chat on obnod, we'll see his instance. And this is a large language model implemented locally. So no internet is being used here, you guys. No, this is internet free. I'm giving you no internet guarantee. We are connected to obnod. All right, come on, Josh. I'm going through 2 digipeters to get to Josh's node, so that's why there's a lot of lag. This little screen here in the bottom is just kind of what's hitting the wire. You can ignore that. So here we are. We are AX.25 AI radio terminal. Right on, Josh. This is a local AI model and fully off grid. So we're gonna give them the standard questions. Now this isn't ChatGPT. Okay, we don't expect that. This is running locally. So we can say how long is a piece of rope? Let's be fair. Let's give them the same questions, right? So let's see what Josh's local large language model is going to say about that. You can see the packets bouncing around. The Kinwind is transmitting and receiving. We see obnode showing up on the digi. So that's why this is taking a little while. If a packet's lost, it has to be retransmitted. In fact, if you want to learn AX.25, that's what's going on down here in the bottom. So you see the ready to receive, packet 2 forward. It's doing that stuff. See, his AI actually got it. This is a trick question, classic trick question. The answer, of course, is as long as it needs to be. But if you're looking for a serious length, that depends on feet, yard, or gazillion knots. Okay, so hey, that's cool. So bonus for the local language model. They noticed that was a trick question. And then, of course, we have to know what is the average velocity of an unladen swallow. I turn up the volume here. That's what packet radio sounds like. Let's see what it says here. If that sounds a lot like the modems back in the 80s, that's because it is exactly the same sounds the modems in the 80s made. All right, the AI has answered, Josh's AI, a question that's been debated for centuries. According to Monty Python, there is no such thing as an unladen swallow. However, a steady swallow cruising speed at about 35 to 45 kilometers per hour. Well, there you go. We did it. All right. So thanks for the help today. We're still talking to AI. So this is pretty cool. This is Josh. Way to go, man. I love it. I don't know, how to do like API tokens or even pay for a ChatGPT account, but maybe we can, if everyone chips into the Patreon account, I can set up ChatGPT and you can all have it available to you on your nodes. I don't know. Let's see. All right, so we're going to say bye to this guy. So we've done 2 command line or chat bots. He says, "You're welcome. I'm glad to assist, even if it's just to clarity and maybe a tiny bit of humor." Have a great day. Love it. All right, so that was AI chatbots. Now we also talked about interpretive AI. This one's kind of interesting. So Nate K0NWJ sent me an email, and he also says, "Hey, Craig, hold my beer. Check this out. This is where we're going to do interpretive AI, where ham radio actually listens to radio. So if you want to check this out, this is still in development. So this is Node." NODUSRF.com. Okay, Node, and he has a net and alert here. I haven't actually logged in here, but what this does is it actually listens to like a SDR device, like an RTL SDR, and it scans through stations and it listens, and it doesn't transcribe things word for word, but it says like here on 147.3, it says amateur radio operators engage in a discussion about weather forecasting definitions and the role of amateur radio and weather. All right, so it actually listened to that conversation and then gave you a little bit of an insight as to what happened, kind of a cliff note, a little narrative there. Let's see, the Arizona Grand Ham Net convened on a 3-meter repeater. 3-meter repeater, 145-135 with net control N6R operators to share personal updates. See, it's pretty cool, right? So, okay, maybe this is cool for ham radio, but this could also apply to public safety as well. You could have this scan your fire and police stations. In fact, he's got that here somewhere. And it'll give you and tell you kind of a real time update as to what's happening around you from a safety perspective. Like here in California, we have wildfires. So the first thing I do is fire up the SDR Play, SDR Plus Plus, and I start listening to the fighter chat in the air command to get the status of wildfires here. But I have to sit here and listen when I'd really rather be running around the house turning on the sprinklers. But hey, Notice Net. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. This could tell me exactly what's happening with the fire, where it is, who's on it, what's the status, containment percent, and it's just an AI insight. This is open source here. You can actually run an Edge node, and you can get the software here. So the GitHub is Node US. I don't know how to say that. Edge. And you can hook this up to your RTL SDR and scan your local stations and contribute to the network here for amateur radio AI insights. In fact, there's more stuff still coming here. So this is kind of a cool, way to do ham radio without actually listening to ham radio. And it's like the short attention span version. If you want to, if you just don't have the time to attend a 1-hour net, you can just have AI listen to it for you. All right, AI insights in ham radio. All right, that brings us to the patrons of the channel. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. The patreon.com/KM6LYW. Anything helps. And in fact, it gets you access to the DigiPi SD card image that you put in a Raspberry Pi here. And it does all of this and a whole lot more. All of the APRS modes you can think of, all the AX.25 stuff that we just did. It does WSJTX, slow scan, FLDigi. It kind of turns your radio into a website. You notice I'd accessed all of this stuff with a web browser. I never used any weird Linux commands or anything. So there's a big version and a little version. You just hook it up to your radio. We got a bunch of different radio interfaces. There's an APRS web chat interface that's fun. This is a radio. We've got cool little screens on it that we wrote drivers for. And hook it up to any radio that you want, and you can do all of this stuff from the Easy Chair. So here's FLDigi running on a tablet, right? You can do JS8 call, same thing from your tablet. You don't even need to be near your radio. So this is just an example of DigiPi running here. Of course, we got the bulletin board, which we just talked about today with AI on it. So this goes to patrons of the channel, guys. Again, really appreciate it. Patreon.com/KM6LYW, and it's going to get you access to the DigiPi SD card image, and you are going to be embracing radio data modes and making amateur radio relevant in the information age. Hey guys, my name is Craig, call sign KM6LYW. I'm in California and I'm clear.